I do videos for YouTube.
Oh, nice, nice. Beautiful car.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. It's a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon. I'm by this beautiful lake close to the mountains, and winter's around the corner, so I felt like taking the car out for a drive. And I thought this would be a good time to do a follow-up video on my ownership with this beautiful C8 Corvette. I've had this car for just over 3 years now. I bought this car on September 1st, 2021. And in the past 38 months, I've put on 27,000 kilometers, or approximately 17,000 miles. Look how this thing just takes off. Very small wheel spin back there. Like, it just has so much torque. This thing just flies. So I'm making this video to share my C8 ownership experience for the past 3 years. So I'll talk a little bit about the modifications that I've done to the car, what I like about it, what I dislike, and I'll talk a little bit about the costs, what this car cost me, and what I've spent for maintenance since I bought this car. I'll talk about the modifications that I've done to this car since I bought it. This is just a general overview. I will do another video where I go into more depth about all of the mods that I've done to this car. But the very first modification that I've done, literally right after I bought this car, is replace the factory wheels. Those factory wheels are not nice at all. They're I don't like how they look. I don't like how they were tucked in. So I bought avant-garde gloss black wheels with a slightly more aggressive offset. So that was my very first modification. The next modification I've done is the spoiler. That spoiler is from Competition Carbon. I haven't seen any C8 with this spoiler yet. I was one of the very first to buy this spoiler. It wasn't even advertised on their website, so I just reached out to Competition Carbon and asked if I could buy this spoiler. So after that spoiler, I put on a few other things. I have a front splitter, and to go with that I have a Z06 style side skirts, and I finished it off in the back with a diffuser. And for the interior, I have a few pieces of carbon fiber. I have a piece of carbon fiber around the speedometer, and this waterfall right behind me, that's carbon fiber. I've done a couple of performance modifications. I've also replaced the air filter with a ATAC Blue high performance filter. I feel like that filter does give it a bit more intake sound and a little bit more throttle response. And the best modification I've done to this car, without a doubt, is the 2M fabrication catback exhaust. It's completely changed the sound of this car. And if I were to describe how that exhaust sounds, I wouldn't say it's throaty like a Hellcat. It's more of a high-pitched scream. It sounds more like a V10. It's got that high-pitched screech to it. And the 1-2 shifts are absolutely brutal. It sounds like a gunshot going off. It sounds pretty amazing, actually, overall, this exhaust. Here, I'll put the windows down so you can hear it a little better. So by far, the best thing that I've done to this car is the exhaust. One of the things I really disliked about the car before is just how quiet that factory exhaust was. And so 2M fabrication took care of that. One of my future mods over the winter is maybe replacing the hood with a ZR1 style hood. And that's about it. So I'll talk a little bit about what I've liked about this car. Obviously, the performance. The performance you get for this car is just amazing. The best 0 to 60 that I've managed on this car is 3.2. Top speed on the Stingray is 194 miles per hour. That's actually faster than the Z06 equipped with the aero package. That one tops up at 188 miles per hour. So it's kind of cool that this car is faster than the Z06. Not that I would ever go that fast. Just listen to that downshift. This car pulls so quick. This car handles extremely well. Like it feels like it's on rails going around corner. Like it's so planted. It takes off so good. It's just an absolutely beast of a performance car. Like it just goes. As soon as you give it gas, it just goes. So I love the performance that you get with this car. I think for what you pay, I don't think you can beat the performance on this car. I've had absolutely no issues with the car. It's a very reliable car. My previous C6 that I've had for about 6 years, never had any issues with that car either. It's just an all-around, very reliable, dependable car in my opinion. The only thing I dislike about the Corvette is the exhaust from the factory. I just find they're way too quiet. The C8 Corvette exhaust, I think, is quiet. The performance exhaust is also too quiet. My C6 that I got, the exhaust was just way too quiet. I just didn't like it at all. So I straight piped it, and that was pretty awesome. It actually would scare people. But I got tired of the straight pipe, so I got a MagnaFlow exhaust. And then even with the MagnaFlow, I just felt like it was still a little quiet. I was kind of missing the straight pipe. And then now when I got the C8, I felt the same way, with the exhaust being just way too quiet. Like it's rather boring. The only time you really hear the exhaust, the factory exhaust, is when you're standing behind the car. But with this exhaust, like you can hear it, and it's not like over the top. I find it's just pretty much perfect in my opinion. The other thing I didn't like about the factory exhaust is those square tips. I just didn't like how they looked at all. So the exhaust had to go, and that's where 2M Fabrication came in with this amazing exhaust. Wow. And now the exhaust is the thing I enjoy the most about this car. Just the sound that this exhaust makes. price of the C8s have gone up every year, and now a 2024 2LT in Canada starts at 100,000, and in the States they start at around 75,000. So the cost of these cars have gone up every year. So let's talk about price. So I paid just over 90,000 Canadian for this car 3 years ago. So that's approximately 63,000 US. And now the prices have gone up. Like every year they go up little by unnecessary expensive. And what I mean by that, things are just really expensive for no reason. For example, I just had my transmission fluid change because I just reached the 3-year mark, and that was $1,000 just to change the transmission fluid. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Oil changes $300. Like shouldn't cost that much to do the maintenance on this car. But I get it. It's a Corvette. The dealerships are going to charge you more for it, and that's the one thing I don't like is they charge you extra for things that shouldn't cost that much. And the other thing is just the general knowledge the dealers have with this car. I find they're not very informative with the maintenance and that's required for this car. So speaking of the transmission, when I went to get my quotes, I got several different quotes. And the other thing is they were asking me if I wanted to replace the internal filter. Like, that just shows me that they don't quite understand. The only reason you would change the internal filter on a DCT is if you have problems. You know, you would change the external filter only, but not the internal. But things like that, they recommended that I change the internal transmission filter. Like, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know, I just find the dealers, you know, since they don't work with this car, they're not that knowledgeable when it comes to the maintenance requirements. I get a lot of conflicting information from my dealership. They said the DCT filter is covered, then they said it's not covered. They weren't sure how much transmission to put in. Like, there's just a whole lot of confusion from the dealership with regards to maintenance on this car. So that's the one thing I didn't like. So let's just hear this exhaust. Overall, I feel I'm blessed to own such an amazing car. I still can't believe when I walk out to my garage, I've got this beautiful thing just sitting there. So I feel blessed to own this car. This is my second Corvette, and it definitely won't be my last. I've enjoyed every moment of being a C8 owner. I think this is like one of the best cars that you can buy for the money. It's just unbelievable what you get. The performance, you get the styling, and a beautiful interior. Like this interior is, my god, this car is literally like a piece of art to me. Like, it's so beautiful, so well made. I absolutely love this car. future of the C8 and Corvette beyond looks really promising. They've got the Zora that's coming out next year, and who knows, there might be a Corvette sedan and a Corvette version of an SUV. And if there is, GM, just, you know, take my money now, because that's something I definitely would be interested in. But I gotta say, the future I think looks really good for Corvette. I'm a huge fan of Corvettes. This is my second one, as I mentioned, and I'm really looking forward to what they're gonna bring in the future. Like the ZR1 is absolutely amazing, and then we still have the we still have the Zora that's coming out, which I think is gonna be a hypercar. I hope GM builds a Corvette version of a sedan and SUV, and if it looks anything like this and performs like this car, then GM, take my money now, please, because that's something I definitely would buy. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one.